Have you ever sensed it? That strange, almost palpable energy with someone. They seem indifferent on the surface, maybe even a little distant, perhaps even slightly dismissive. Yet something in their eyes, a fleeting gesture you almost miss, a peculiar pattern in their behavior, makes you stop and wonder, makes your gut scream. Are they secretly, desperately fighting powerful feelings for me? Because here's a fascinating, often overlooked psychological truth. When an individual is battling a potent, undeniable attraction, they are not yet ready, willing, or perhaps even able to consciously admit, either to you or to themselves. Their true, raw feelings often leak out. They seep through the cracks of their carefully constructed facade in tiny, almost imperceptible, yet incredibly revealing micro-signals. Their conscious mind desperately screams, "No, no, no," but their deeper, more honest subconscious whispers, and sometimes even shouts, "Yes, yes, yes." Today we are not just scratching the surface. We are becoming emotional detectives, forensic analysts of hidden desire. I am revealing 6 tiny, yet incredibly potent, almost forbidden signs that someone is secretly, intensely fighting their burgeoning feelings for you. These are the subtle, involuntary tells they cannot fully control, no matter how hard they try. And pay extremely close attention, because sign number 5 is so profoundly counterintuitive, so paradoxical, that most people miss it entirely or tragically misinterpret it. Yet it's often one of the most dead giveaways of a deep, suppressed attraction. Understanding these subtle cues will fundamentally change how you perceive and navigate human interactions forever. So, why on earth would someone actively fight their genuine feelings if they're truly attracted to you? The reasons are as complex and varied as human beings themselves, but they often boil down to a few core psychological drivers: crippling fear of vulnerability and potential rejection. The thought of opening themselves up, of being emotionally exposed, and then potentially facing rejection or heartbreak can be absolutely terrifying. The higher the stakes, i.e., the more they like you, the greater the fear. Perceived inappropriate circumstances or unsuitability. Perhaps they're already in a committed relationship, or believe you are. Maybe there's a significant age gap they're deeply uncomfortable with. Perhaps they're your boss, your employee, a close friend's ex. Societal or personal rules make the attraction feel forbidden or wrong. Lingering past trauma or betrayal, previous painful relationship experiences, being cheated on, abandoned, deeply hurt, can make them incredibly wary, almost phobic, of new emotional connections, even if the attraction is strong. Profound self-doubt or low self-esteem. They might secretly harbor feelings but believe deep down that they are not good enough for you, that you're out of their league, leading them to suppress their feelings to avoid perceived inevitable disappointment. Conflicting values, life goals, or perceived long-term incompatibility. They might be undeniably attracted to you on a physical or emotional level, but consciously recognize fundamental incompatibilities in life goals, core values, or long-term desires, leading them to try and shut down the feelings. This intense internal conflict, this psychological tug-of-war between their undeniable desire and their conscious or subconscious reasons for suppression, creates a unique, palpable tension. And that's precisely where these tiny, telltale signs, these involuntary emotional leaks, emerge. They are the visible cracks in their carefully constructed dam of emotional denial. Tiny sign number 1, a classic indicator of internal conflict. Inconsistent but periodically overly intense, or unusually prolonged eye contact, often immediately followed by a quick, almost startled look away. They will lock eyes with you, and in that moment the intensity feels deeper, more significant, more charged than casual eye contact. They might hold it for a fraction of a second too long, and then, as if jolted by their own involuntary action, as if they've revealed too much, they will abruptly break contact, perhaps looking flustered, self-conscious, or suddenly very interested in a random object. The underlying psychology. The eyes are often called the windows to the soul for a reason. That intense, lingering gaze is their subconscious desire for connection, their authentic attraction involuntarily leaking through. The quick, almost panicked aversion is their conscious mind catching itself, desperately trying to suppress that overt display of interest, to slam the shutters closed, usually due to fear, shyness, or the powerful internal conflict raging within them. Example: you catch them staring at you from across the room with a soft, almost longing expression, but the microsecond you meet their gaze, they might blush. Their eyes widen slightly, and they'll immediately look down, pretend to check their phone, or become intensely absorbed in a conversation with someone else. Tiny sign number 2. They frequently, almost coincidentally, find seemingly innocuous reasons to be in close physical proximity to you, or they engage in brief, seemingly inadvertent, yet often lingering or slightly charged touches. The underlying psychology. Subconsciously, on a primal level, we are drawn to be near those to whom we are attracted. Their logical mind might be trying to maintain distance, but their subconscious, their body, often has other ideas. They might happen to stand next to you in a group when there's plenty of other space. They might brush against you by mistake in a hallway, or a handshake, a pat on the arm, or the passing of an object might linger for a microsecond longer than strictly necessary, often accompanied by that intense, then averted eye contact we just discussed. Their body is often betraying their mind's attempt to maintain a safe, emotional distance. Example: their hand accidentally brushes yours when you're both reaching for the same coffee pot, and there's a tiny, almost imperceptible pause, a subtle intake of breath, or an electric jolt you clearly feel, and perhaps they quickly pull away as if slightly burned or flustered, over-apologizing for the clumsiness. Tiny sign number 3. They exhibit an overly enthusiastic or a strangely, almost uncannily detailed memory of your past conversations, your shared minor interactions, or trivial personal details about you, things that most people would typically and easily forget. The underlying psychology. When we are highly interested in or attracted to someone, our brain's attention and encoding mechanisms go into overdrive regarding that person. We pay heightened, often subconscious, attention to everything they say and do, and our memory retains those details with far greater vividness and precision. If they remember a throwaway comment you made weeks ago, a tiny detail about your preferences you mentioned in passing, or the specifics of a very minor shared experience, it's a strong indication that you are occupying significant mental real estate in their mind. They are replaying your interactions, analyzing them, cherishing them on some level. Example: they casually bring up something very specific you said in a past conversation, perhaps weeks or months ago, like, "Oh, that reminds me of when you mentioned you had that weird dream about obscure detail. I thought that was so funny, interesting." Or they remember your exact coffee order after you've only told them once. Tiny sign number 4. You observe markedly inconsistent, often confusing behavior towards you. They blow hot and cold, often with no discernible external trigger. One moment they're incredibly warm, engaging, open, almost flirty, making you feel a strong connection. The next moment or the next day, they're distant, aloof, reserved, or even slightly irritable or dismissive around you for no apparent logical reason. The underlying psychology. This erratic push-pull dynamic is often a direct external manifestation of their intense internal conflict. The hot behavior is their genuine attraction, their authentic desire for connection, leaking out, momentarily overpowering their defenses. The cold behavior is their conscious or subconscious mind yanking back the reins, attempting to suppress those burgeoning feelings, to create emotional distance, or to protect themselves from getting too close, revealing too much, or acting on their impulses. The inconsistency is the battle playing out externally for you to witness. Example, they have an amazing, deeply connected, highly engaging conversation with you one day, sharing personal things, laughing easily. Then, the very next day, they barely make eye contact, offer curt responses, or seem to avoid you, only to perhaps initiate another surprisingly warm or deep discussion a few days later, leaving you completely baffled. Tiny sign number 5, and this is the truly counterintuitive one, the one that often flies under the radar or gets misinterpreted. Subtle, often quickly suppressed, signs of jealousy or an unusual, almost disproportionate level of interest in your interactions with other potential romantic interests or even just attractive individuals. This is frequently masked as casual curiosity or friendly concern, but the underlying energy is different. The underlying psychology, if they are genuinely fighting strong feelings for you, seeing you potentially connect with someone else, or even just hearing you speak positively about another potential romantic interest, can trigger a subconscious pang of possessiveness, a fear of loss, or a competitive anxiety. Even if they are consciously telling themselves they have no right to feel that way, or are actively trying to suppress their attraction. They might ask slightly too many probing questions about who you were talking to, who you were with, or their mood might subtly, almost imperceptibly shift, a slight frown, a tightening of the jaw, a sudden quietness. If they see you laughing heartily or engaging warmly with someone else, they might perceive as a threat to a connection they secretly desire but are too afraid to pursue. Example, if you casually mention you went out with a group of friends over the weekend, they might ask with a slightly too casual air, "Oh, anyone special in that group?" Or, "Were there many opposite-sex people there?" Or, if they see you having an animated, enjoyable conversation with an attractive colleague, they might suddenly find a reason to interrupt, or their own demeanor towards you might become a fraction cooler or more distant for a short while afterwards. This isn't overt dramatic jealousy, which would clearly reveal their hand and their feelings. It's a much more subtle, almost involuntary protective peek, their suppressed feelings making them hyper-aware and subtly reactive to potential threats to a connection they secretly covet, but are actively trying to deny or control. Their subconscious is betraying their carefully guarded heart. And tiny sign number 6, often closely linked with the hot and cold behavior, a display of projected indifference or aloofness towards you that feels a little too strong, a little too deliberate, almost performative. It doesn't quite ring true. It feels slightly forced or unnatural. The underlying psychology. When someone is trying extremely hard to suppress strong, genuine feelings, they sometimes overcompensate in the opposite direction. They might act overly aloof, pointedly disinterested, or even slightly dismissive or sarcastic towards you in an attempt to convince themselves and you that they don't care, that you don't affect them. It's a defense mechanism, an attempt to maintain emotional distance and control. True, genuine indifference is usually calm, effortless, and unremarkable. Forced performative indifference often has an underlying tension, a subtle strain, and "I'm trying way too hard not to care," which paradoxically shows I actually do care a lot vibe. Example, they might go out of their way to show everyone else in a group attention while pointedly ignoring you, or they might make a point of talking to everyone but you in a social setting. However, you might still catch those fleeting, intense, almost stolen glances from sign number 1, or notice that their body language, when they think you're not looking, is actually oriented towards you. Their words or overt actions say, "I don't care." But their micro-expressions and subconscious body language betray a different story. So you're observing these tiny telltale signs. You suspect they might be secretly fighting feelings for you. What now? This is an incredibly delicate situation. You absolutely do not want to call them out directly, confront them, or say, "Hey, I know you secretly like me." That will almost certainly make them retreat further, deny everything, and build their emotional walls even higher. Instead, your primary goal, if you are also interested, is to subtly, patiently, and consistently create a safe, non-pressuring, inviting emotional space for their feelings to potentially emerge, if those feelings are indeed there and if they choose to acknowledge them. Be a consistent, positive presence. Continue to be a genuinely warm, friendly, positive, and reliable presence in their life, without any overt pressure or expectation. Show your own genuine, low-key interest, if applicable. If you are interested in them, let your own genuine, low-key interest be known through your consistent, positive engagement, your attentiveness, as per sign Tasher 5 from my other videos perhaps, and your warmth. But keep it light, keep it non-demanding, validate their positive interactions. When they do show moments of warmth or openness, the hot phases, respond positively and appreciatively, reinforcing that it's safe and pleasant to connect with you. Patience is paramount. Understand that they are on their own internal journey. Your steady, confident, patient, and accepting demeanor might, over time, give them the courage and the perceived safety to lower their defenses and explore their feelings more openly. Sometimes simply continuing to be a genuinely great, high-value person around them without any pressure is the most powerful strategy of all. You are creating an irresistible pull by being an oasis of positive energy and safety. The 6 tiny yet incredibly potent signs that someone might be secretly, intensely fighting their burgeoning feelings for you. 1. Inconsistent but overly intense or prolonged eye contact. 2. Accidental physical proximity and fleeting, charged touches. 3. Overly enthusiastic or strangely hyper-detailed memory of your interactions. 4th. Markedly inconsistent behavior, the hot and cold dynamic. 5. Subtle, almost involuntary jealousy or over-interest in your other interactions. 6th. A display of projected indifference that feels a little too forced or performative. The world of unsaid emotions, of hidden attractions, is endlessly fascinating and complex. In the comments section below, I want you to share your invaluable field reports. Which of these tiny, subtle signs have you personally noticed in someone that made you strongly suspect they were fighting hidden feelings for you? Or perhaps there's another ultra-subtle, almost invisible clue that you've picked up on in your own experiences that screams suppressed attraction. Let's build the ultimate collective field guide to decoding hidden attraction. Your insight could be the key for someone else. If this video opened your eyes to the subtle art of reading between the lines, if it gave you a new lens through which to view confusing interactions, or if it could help a friend who is currently baffled by someone's perplexing behavior, please share it. Understanding these subtle yet powerful dynamics can save a world of guesswork, heartache, and missed opportunities. For more deep, transformative dives into the intricate psychology of attraction, the mysteries of hidden emotions, and the art of mastering social dynamics with profound insight and confidence, make sure you have decisively activated that subscribe button and have rung that all-important notification bell. The most profound secrets of human connection are just beginning to unfold. Go forth, observe, understand, and read between the lines.